Hello, my name is Elizabeth Beard, and today I will be giving my final presentation for my Discourse Analysis 1 class. My presentation is about pausing and how it has effects on communication. So let's get started. Now first I would like to discuss about the four conversational signals: pacing, pausing, loudness, and pitch. All four of these signals are involved in everyday communication, and all four of these signals are believed to make up an intonation. Now pacing and pausing tend to be put in the same category, but they're very different. Pacing deals with the rate of speed that someone is talking, while pausing deals with how long a person waits to speak or how long that person stops talking during a conversation. Loudness deals with how a person communicates with a loud volume or a soft volume. Pitch deals with a person's tone in their voice while talking. So now let's take a deeper look into pausing itself. According to dictionary.com, the definition of the word pause is the following. It means to make a brief stop or delay, to wait or hesitate. Some reasons that I found for pausing during a conversation are these four. The first is to catch breath. The second is to find the right words to say. The third is for a dramatic effect on the conversation. And the fourth is just out of habit. Now, I want to read to you an article that I found at scienceblog.com about pausing. And here's the article. While I was off guest posting elsewhere, I talked to Christina Lundholm, a PhD student in linguistics and also a speech and language pathologist. I talked her into guest posting here. She knows a great deal more about speech errors and disfluencies than I do. This is her follow-up to my post about errors in speech. This is Christina talking. For a long time, spoken language was seen as inferior to written language. Hesitations and pauses were seen as flaws in the production of speech. This way of looking at language and communication proposes that there is an ultimate way to deliver an utterance. Today we know that pauses and hesitations are a vital part of communication and not some sort of unnecessary interruption in the speech signal. Natural conversation is studied by conversational analysts, psycholinguistics, sociologists, and many more. To understand why pauses are important, imagine trying to have a conversation with someone who never pauses. Would you get anything said? Pauses are necessary in communication. We need to breathe, think, and leave gaps where another person can take over. Pauses also make it easier for the listener to process and understand what we are saying. Even when the people engaged in the conversation understand the importance of pausing and make pauses in all the right places, that might not be enough. An argument on pause length is key to a successful conversation. Pause length tolerance, which means how long pause you tolerate before the silence seems unbearable and you feel like you have to say something, that varies between languages and dialects. Because of this, you may experience what a friend of mine went through when he moved south to study. He had a high tolerance of pauses, which also meant that if the pause in the conversation was short, he didn't take his turn since he felt like that was interrupting. Therefore, he felt that his new friends were quite rude who never let him talk, and they thought that he must be terribly shy since he rarely spoke. The effect of different pause lengths has been verified by and for an example, Scullin and Deborah Tannen. Pauses also influence how we perceive what is being said. If someone asks you for a ride home, your answer will be interpreted as more negative if you take longer to respond, even if the answer itself is positive. The location of a pause is also very meaningful. If the speaker does not want to be interrupted, it is wise to pause with a syntactic unit. For example, before an important contact word, like, I want a green sweater. If you pause between syntactical units, chances are that your conversation partner will think that you're finished and will start talking. Now, about those ums and ers, there are a bunch of different names for these small units in communication. Filler words, fillers, filled pauses, hesitation phenomenon, disfluencies, etc. I prefer the term filled pause, since I classify them as a sort of pause. Filled pauses have a lot of functions in spoken communication. One is to signal to the other persons that even though I'm not saying anything particular right now, I don't want anyone else to take over. It can also mean, difficult question, I have to think about that. Or a number of different things depending on position, prosody, context, etc. Quite a lot of research has focused on filled pauses in spoken dialogue, but I don't know if anyone has investigated filled pauses in written communication. So in conclusion, pauses are not only important, they make or break the conversation. Okay, now I want to talk about two types of pauses. Now there's many types of pauses, but I've put them into two broad categories, which are long pauses and short pauses. Now, here's an example of a long pause during an interview. Now try to notice and listen closely to where the pauses occur, and how do you think it changes the dynamics of the conversation?
And here with us now is Pamela Horn, who has been waiting for more than 5 decades to meet the brother who vanished from her side that day. With her also is her attorney, Lauren Allen. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
You know, all of a sudden the spotlight is on you. You know, just living your life, and everybody now wants to talk to you. Do you believe that this could possibly be your brother?
Yes, I believe it possibly could be my brother.
Do you see any kind of resemblance when you look at him, when you see yourself? Do you see any kind of family resemblance?
Yes.
And I know it goes far more than just having similarities in appearance. That tests have been taken as well, and we're waiting for some of those results. But what was it like when he first contacted you? What did he say to you?
He explained his situation, and we became friends quickly.
You became friends quickly?
Yes.
You just hit it off?
Yeah, we just hit it off.
And did he tell you anything more of why he felt that he could be your brother?
We have talked some.
Okay, so that is one example. The other example that I have is also an interview, but it's with a short pause. Now, try to notice where this video is different from the other video.
Some new charges coming at him. He's got some anger management issues.
I'd say he has plenty of anger management.
I think he just...
Snap.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but let me ask you, because
I think he just...
Let me ask you on that, because I know that he was not happy with you representing him. And he actually talked to our affiliate, WLEX, and this is what he had to say.
Okay, so that is the other example. So, now that we've heard two examples of the types of pauses, long and short. I want to discuss some reasons why pauses may occur in a conversation. And I found 4 examples or reasons why pauses might occur in a conversation. So the first one is both people may have little in common with each other. The second is both people are maybe shy or socially awkward. And the third one is neither of the persons has social skills to keep the conversation going. And the fourth is there's nothing left to say. So throughout the semester, this class has been focused on the communication in the English language because that is our first language. That is my first language. But we've always been asked to apply this to interpreting. So my last and final question is, how does this apply? How does all this apply to interpreting? In my personal opinion, I believe that it's very important for us as interpreters and future interpreters to try to figure out why the pauses may occur during a conversation so that we can try and understand the entire message with the pauses and everything and render that message as faithfully as we can to our consumer. So thank you very much. That concludes my presentation.